I really think that pro bono is about feeding your soul, feeding your heart. Really, if you have passion for something and you look for ideas out there and communities that need it, that, to me, that is sort of the best source of inspiration and the way we can really best fulfill that need for pro bono. And if you do things that make you happy, things can totally be achievable, that you would have thought were unachievable. And so you can just make your vision a reality. And I truly believe that somehow the more you give away, the more that gets back to you. It just seems to happen. And this is a scary fact. We used to think that maybe this was a thought, but this generation of children, our generation of the kids that we are having, will be the first in the nation's history to live shorter lives than us as parents. And this is the Center for Disease Control said this about a year ago. And it's really scary. It makes me as a parent go, wow, what are we doing wrong? And it really makes you realize that food is a gateway to talking about sustainability, and perhaps that local healthy food could create really strong positive externalities. So food is both a problem and it's a solution. When you hear these facts, and Amy had some as well, that a third of the children in the U.S. are overweight or at risk of disease based on lack of nutrition. That's 1 in 3 kids. That's a lot. So one of the things that we can do as designers, of course, is help to talk about it and raise the eco-literacy of everyone, including ourselves. The truth is that we talk about systems thinking, but we generally don't really do it. Part of the way the world is operating is very linear thinking. And one of the things I think when we get back to eco-literacy and go back to school gardens is really get back in touch with the earth, get back in touch with ourselves, and really start to think about systems. So the Miller Creek Garden started as a sketch, actually from a 6th grader. And her idea was about creating a healthy lunch program. She saw some of these facts. She had done some research on Michelle Obama's garden, as well as the edible landscape that was done by Alice Waters. And she read a proposal over the Christmas break. She asked the landscape architect, happened to be me, to help her kind of put some of the ideas in writing and help her organize it. And she created the steps. She also picked a couple of sites on her school campus. And what she wanted to do was really affect the community. And so this is what the idea that she came up with. The principal loved it so much, he had her start presenting to organizations. This is a rally for 10-10-10. It was on global warming and global consciousness, and she started talking about it. And within 3 months, she raised $30,000. Along the way, the stakeholder group grew. There were many concerned parents as well as teachers and kids, and we helped define the fact that this would be a farm-to-table concept and talked about the strategies and built a consensus. And so within a few months, when you raise $30,000, you can kind of start construction pretty immediately. That summer, we started building with kids, teachers, the local community. People would walk by and they'd say, hey, can I help? And they'd pick up a shovel, pick up a hammer, pick up a paintbrush and help. And a lot of the students got also community service credits, which was really wonderful to kind of have them learn the leadership to be good citizens and learn civic things. There was a 3,500-gallon cistern, which within 2 rain showers in Marin County, you actually are already full. And we connected to a potable system and non-potable system so they could learn about both. Seeds, of course, and we had an outdoor classroom. In this instance, we were able to, one of our goals was to establish hiring a garden coordinator. So while a lot of the work was pro bono, it was a real project. Marin County is kind of known dubiously, I guess, as one of the most educated counties where we actually recycle the most, and all the counties in California. However, we also have the most recycled waste. So it's a very consumer-oriented thing. So one of the goals was, especially in the beginning, was environmental stewardship and understanding how we take better care of ourselves and land. So the first planting, the 7th graders, by this time the student was a 7th grader, and they became the stewards and leaders of the garden. And of course, this is just some shots as it grew. Whoops, go back. How do I go back, Joe? Sorry guys. Thank you. Okay. So one of the things, I think this slide says it well, how we talk about systems, just the fact of how pollinators are connected to how produce happens and what habitat, how it connects and through education. So these were all the ideas that got presented even to the teachers to talk it into how to deal with equal literacy. And of course, there's just many different ways that, discovery is really what it's all about when it comes down to it. And everybody bought into it. A lot of things I would think of another thing is just seeing how leadership has grown and born, with the younger students and how they take pride and action into this. And so this was the welcome to the community and all of the community coming in to enjoy the garden and principal giving a talk about that. And also, acknowledging all of the help and especially like what all the students did. Harvest, and we also created a vertical wall because there's a lot of vacant spaces, so it went up. And one of the things I want to say is that if you teach a kid to plant a tomato, they will eat a tomato. If you teach them to eat, plant kale, they're going to eat kale. So it's very important, I think, that this notion of what we do, how it affects people. Guy Fieri came by, had chef events, lots of involvement, and again, the leadership and mentoring. And I think I want to just end by saying that to change a community, you need to change the soil, and designers are really like the soil. And if we think of ourselves as that, we really are change agents, just as Amy said, and we can change the world. Thank you.